to own it. Just wanted to take the time, learn all the things that I could about you. Now it's such a mess here. Oh, we are just stressed here. Used to be so easy with you.
Thanks for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me, Sparkle.
So this is really cool. You're taking one of my favorite stories, my favorite Stephen King stories, and putting it in a play. So tell us about it.
Absolutely. We are doing Stephen King's Misery at Fresno State. It is a wild ride. I mean, I'm sure you've seen the movie, you've read the book, you're familiar maybe even with both, but this is a wild ride. And like I said, there's a lot of comedy, there's a lot of suspense, they got the thriller aspect, it's done. People who come, honestly, Sparkle, their number one thing they say is, I want to come again. I'm not kidding. I think everybody's saying, oh, he's selling. I'm not saying I'm not selling. But I am saying that the number one thing people say is they want to come again. They're having that much fun.
I bet I've never even seen it as a play. Or is it something that they ever had on Broadway or something? That
you remember the movie The Princess Bride?
Right, yeah.
Okay, so William Goldman, he wrote The Princess Bride. He also wrote Misery, the play taken from Stephen King, the movie and the.
So is that what this is going off of?
Yeah, the original play had Laurie Metcalf from Roseanne.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and Bruce Willis.
You know, I did hear about this. Okay, so yeah, they did have, okay.
Yeah.
So this is kind of going to be like this, but a little bit different?
Yeah.
Your play, because you have some comedic elements?
Well, it's just, I'm not saying I'm not saying we're doing this like the Naked Gun or Police Academy. It's not like that. We're playing it exactly the way Stephen King wants it.
I get it.
But there's a little bit dark comedy, because you got a guy who's kidnapped, who basically is kidnapped, but he's trying to, act like he's such good friends with his kidnapper, so that he can get out, he could get an escape. So there's some comedic elements that happen along the way there. But as it gets serious, where she doesn't want him to leave, then it gets very suspenseful and very serious.
So tell us what you went through to do this role, because I've never been in anything where it's just like there's 3 actors the whole time.
Yep.
So how was that rehearsing with all of that?
Sparkle, that's a great question. This was intense. I graduated theater school at USC, but I did go to Fresno State for 1 year before I transferred to USC.
Right on.
And in the process, you're doing a lot of plays before you get into TV and movies.
Oh, exactly, yeah.
And there's a huge difference between play acting and TV and film. I forgot what that is. So to answer your question, this was a lot of rehearsal. When you've been in movies and stuff, when you're in movies, there's no rehearsal. It's like,
and I did plays too, yeah, so I get it. It's been a while, but
it's like, Sparkle, stand here, say your lines, right? We got you in this camera. That's how it is in film. By the way, when you're in film, you could do it a few times.
Over and over again. There's no messing up in a play.
Yeah, in a play, that's it. You got to live with it.
Have you guys messed up at all with the line? Did you have to ad-lib?
So Saturday night, she ties me up. There's the famous scene. You know what happened.
See, there's more exciting reasons to watch it. I will pay to see you get tied up.
There you go. So I get tied up. And when I'm tied up, I'm trying to escape, but I can't, right? I'm tied up pretty good. Well, anyway, Saturday night, I broke free. The tie didn't, and they legit tie me up.
She didn't tie you hard enough. Okay.
I don't know what happened. So my right arm broke free. So I'm like, oh shit. Sorry.
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay, so I'm like, oh my, I'm broke free here. My right arm was free. And we had the Kennedy Center Awards judge watching that day to see who she's going to nominate from our show. And we don't know yet. We'll know soon. But so my arm's free. And now I'm thinking, well, naturally I would go free the other arm probably. Now my legs are still not healed fully, if you know the story.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So I'm like, well, I would probably go free myself. But if I free myself, I'm free now, the whole rest of the play. You know what I'm saying? But then the actress who plays Annie, and by the way, in the movie, Kathy Bates won Best Actress.
Yeah.
Right? So she came to try to retie my arm. And while she's trying to do it, I fought her off. I was like, no, you're not going to retie me.
So she saw
that
happen, and then you guys played off on it?
Yeah.
How exciting.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
And actually, Sparkle, so we had to meet with the judge from the Kennedy Center afterwards. And so she's talking to us about it. And she said, you know what? I mean, what really stuck in my mind was this arm breaking free. And then he's fighting you off, which is what she should have done. But I think the actress at the same time, she was doing the right thing. But I think she wanted to tie me up so the rest of the story will go as planned. But I'm like, hell no, you ain't tying my arm now that it's free. But I could have untied this one too, but if I do, then it's like, where do we go from there? You know.
So are you guys going to do that every time now that you threw that in there?
So I'll tell you this little secret. This is a behind the stage secret. So when I got tied up, that was Saturday. For Sunday show when I got tied up, and I hope I'm not any spoilers here being tied up, but when I got tied up for Sunday show, she whispers to me, don't break away, please. So I guess she was nervous that I would try to break out again. But before that, it would hold me if I tried to break out. It would actually get stronger the way they did the knot. But for some reason, Saturday,
that is
free. So there has been some errors, and that one was an interesting one.
That must have been so exciting to watch you guys roll with it.
Oh, it's crazy.
Were there some people in the audience that had seen the other that knew how it was supposed to go? So they
what's interesting? Like a lot of people, didn't, but she did. Maybe that's why she's the judge at the Kennedy Center. She's spotting things. She knew that, hey, that wasn't supposed to break.
Oh wow.
Other people. She asked me why didn't I free. It was like this. Look, she has interviews to try to see if you're worthy of being known to go perform at the Kennedy Center. She goes, why didn't you break the other one free? And I had a truthful answer. I said it was in my mind to break free, but I said if this one came out so easy and then this one comes out so easy, now the audience is gonna say, well, he ain't gonna stay there to get his things broke, or what I'm saying?
Right, exactly.
He's not gonna stay around for the rest of the play. So that's why I decided I'll use this one to like fight off, and this one I'm gonna say that I'm stuck.
Wow.
So yes, that does happen.
That is so exciting. I can't wait to see this because it's like one of my favorite stories. Are you going to do this more often, theater? You're liking it?
Great question, Sparkle. I don't know. I mean, this was fun. I wish there was more of a theater presence in Fresno, and I hope that's not taken away from the theater presence that is in Fresno. I just wish there was even more of one. And so maybe, we'll see. I mean, this has been it's been a surprise hit, actually. It's been a monstrous surprise hit. I mean, people are wanting to come back more and more. Even the not opposing, but other faculty at Fresno State are even like blown away that it's this fun of a ride. It is a thrill ride, let me tell you.
Well, this has gotten a lot of attention because honestly, I mean, this is not to put it on Fresno State. I don't know a lot of things that are going on there. I stick a little in the theater community in different places, but this is making noise.
Right. Yeah. So Stephen King, Misery, Fresno State. You're thinking of school play. They used to try to play things maybe a little safe. This is not safe. I mean, they were not even letting people in if they're under a certain age. I think 13. Some people are trying to.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
But you're not going to get a thrill ride like this at a theater anytime soon. Let me tell you. When's the last time you even heard of a Stephen King story being done in theater?
I haven't. That's why this is really exciting.
Right.
And this is the best one to do out of all of his movies to do.
Probably.
The psychological thriller.
Yeah. This one, or maybe The Shining. Maybe
that'd be fun.
But you couldn't have all the rooms in The Shining.
Yeah.
So this has been really exciting that way. And then the other thing too is how much rehearsal it took. It was a lot of rehearsal.
How many months?
A little bit over 2 months.
That's why we need this here longer. How do we vote to get it here longer or make it come back?
It should be, right? We should have there should be a touring Misery. I mean, it should be here longer. I actually said that in the beginning when I talked about, my commitment to doing the role. I was like, wow, there's a lot of work that's going to be done here. Because Sparkle, like you said earlier, there's really a two-person, there's three because there's a sheriff, but a lot of it is two people. I was looking at that saying, hey, this is a lot of work. This is not going to be, just something I just throw in.
Right.
It's a lot of work. And to do it, and then it's only running 2 weeks. But at the same time, maybe that makes it even more special for those. It's playing tonight through Saturday, 7:30 p.m. at Fresno State. And by the way, Sparkle, when you go to theater, it's not like the movies. You can't just show up at 7:45. You got to show up early.
I know. That's why I'm like, I promise you, I'm gonna see this before it ends.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, and it is a thrill. I guarantee you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, I wasn't expecting it to be this professional, this fun, and it's like people are blown away. Like right away, you'll know. And at Fresno State, I'm gonna give props out to Fresno State because I graduated USC, but Fresno State, they put on these plays that are amazing. I mean, because they have lighting designers, they got the sound designers, they got costume designers, they got every little department. I mean, there's the prop designers, they got everyone on everything. So during our final week of Tech Week, you have all these different people checking out props, the set, you're going to go see when you see this play, you're going to be like, whoa, this was Broadway quality production. And I'm not joking.
That's so awesome. Do they have, because I was always thinking like, well, I went to Fresno Pacific and all of our plays, it was all done by the students. Do they have that at Fresno State? Or
They do. They have a ETC, which is like the student.
But they bring in other people like you guys.
Okay, so there's two.
Okay.
So they do, I think 4 main plays that's done from the department. And then they will bring in guest actors, like they brought me in. And then there's the students, which I thought you were asking about. The students themselves have their own little group that they'll do a student-directed play for students only that they'll do once a semester. There's those as well. But the other actors that's in this play are students of Fresno State.
The one that you're...
Yeah, the other 2.
Oh my! So how did that work? How do you guys get along now with all of that? Because you spent a lot of time together. So
yeah. You know, great, but it was intense to get this done because it was a lot of work. And he and Professor Ellis, who's the director, he cast a non-theater major female for the role of Annie, which I thought was like,
wow, what does she major in?
I was stunned.
That's crazy.
I thought he must have just hired like a ringer from the department, like the best from the department to play this role.
You would think,
You would think, right? Because this role's iconic, but he didn't. He made a bold choice, but because at Fresno State anyone can audition, but primarily the theater people audition, right? And she auditioned, and I think she's like a dairy major from the agriculture
that's
department.
even fun. I love it.
And he cast her, but she's getting rave reviews as well. So, and she's trim, unlike Kathy Bates. Because Kathy Bates is kind of a husky woman. Sometimes she's like next to me, and I'm like telling Thomas, I'm like, Thomas, I could, she's small.
You could take her down.
I would don't ever be too close.
Right. No, that's very true.
Because Kathy, maybe James Caan. By the way, I was in a movie with his son once, James Caan's son.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting that now I'm in the role that.
Do you still keep in touch with them? You should send it.
I should.
Okay, so can we buy it? Because when I went to the Les Mis play, they had it where you can buy it, the DVD of it. Can we buy a DVD of it?
I was begging for this. They won't. Fresno State is like such a stickler of they won't allow anyone to film anything. It's ridiculous.
No way.
Yeah,
so you can't even use it for your own reel?
For something like you're doing, they probably would let you film like something, but no, and I was asking, let me get a scene or something,
Yeah, just a scene.
Just to show my manager in LA or something, hey, look, this is what I'm doing. Maybe I'll try to sneak my camera phone somewhere.
I hope nobody's watching from
Well, hopefully I could, but they're very sticklers about this. I guess because how they go about getting the rights for the play, they go about getting rights that have strict no, but I don't know. I think they could have let me, but they didn't want to.
So what is next? What if it does get reviews and people want you to actually tour and perform? Are your friends, as the other co-stars, have you guys talked about stuff like that and the possibilities? Is that a possibility, or is Fresno State going to be like, no, don't take it away from us?
What's interesting is Thomas Ellis, the director, he has taken other plays that he's done at Fresno State. He's taken to Korea, Taiwan, Japan. And so he was talking about doing this play. He really wanted to do China now.
That'd be so interesting.
So that's what he's talking about. But we'll see. Who knows? Maybe my other, co-stars can't make it to China.
Can you imagine going and doing this in China?
I think that'd be really cool.
That'd be really cool. That'd be really interesting.
Yeah. And I think maybe even he's shocked at the audience reaction to the show. They literally, people are wanting to go again. That's the number one. They don't say it was good. They're like, oh my gosh, that was so good. I want to go again. They're having that much fun.
See, how did you get involved in this? Because you don't even live here right now.
Well,
I thought about that. You don't even live here.
That's a great question. So I went to Fresno State first. I actually went and played baseball for Fresno State. I was trying out and this and that. I had the highest batting average trying out. And I randomly get cut. I did not deserve to get cut. And the sheriff, I don't know if you know the sheriff, John Zanoni.
He's been on here.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
He was trying out for the team when I did. He's like, hey, let's go check to see the cut list. Let's see who got cut. And I was like, I felt bad because I knew he was going to get cut. And he even said, I know I'm going to get cut. And he's like, you're going to make the team. You had the highest batting average. And I was like, yeah, I knew I was going to make it too. So we go over there to go look at the board. And I was kind of telling him oh man, I felt bad for him at the time. So he's looking at the board. He's like, yeah, he knew he got cut. And I was kind of acting like I didn't want to look. I was looking halfway to see where I was on there, and I'm like, wait a minute, because my last name's Cloud. It's kind of an easy name to see.
Right. Yeah.
And it wasn't there. And I was like, what do you mean I got cut? I had the highest batting average on the team at the time. I was like, how did I get cut? So I was like, well, I'm free now. You know, I had baseball. It took so many hours of my day.
That was your life before.
Yeah, that was my life.
Wow.
So when I was free, I was like, what am I going to do? And I was driving. I was listening to, I remember I was listening to Eye of the Tiger. Dun, dun, dun. And I was like, you know what? Gosh, wouldn't it be fun to like maybe be in a Rocky movie or be in Star Wars or be in like Ben-Hur, the Roman days? Or I was like, wow, that sounds like a fun job and also a way to, you know, teach the world new ways of dreaming and new ways of being. I was like, that's what I want to do. So I immediately transferred my major to acting, and Professor Ellis actually was my teacher of a random like GE class at the time, and I asked him, I said, hey, he was in the drama department. I said, I want to do this. What should I do? And he's like, he helped me. I said, I want to get to LA. So I tried to transfer to USC, which is not easy. You had to audition and all this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And he helped me practice for my auditions. And so I got in. I was the only transfer at that time for the, yeah. And so then he, throughout the years, we kept in touch. Yeah, he always joked with me and said, one day I'll bring you back as a guest artist. One day I'll bring you back as a guest artist.
And years later?
Years later. I mean, like, I'm talking for the last, like, 10 years, he's always said, I'll bring you back as a guest star. I'm going to bring you back.
You probably didn't believe him.
I didn't.
After time passed.
I didn't believe him. And then he ran into my dad in the Fresno Cheesecake Factory, and he said, you know, I'm doing Misery. Your son might be just right. So my dad ran it by me. He's like, you know, it's going to be a minimum of 2 months, you know, of hardcore rehearsal. And so I was like, that hardcore rehearsal is kind of brutal. And being in Fresno, you know, don't get me wrong, I love Fresno.
But your life isn't.
I'm happy to have been here for these 2 months, though. This has been great. I've enjoyed it. And so I told him, okay, I'll do it, you know. And then he said, you're going to have to audition. I was like, what? I was like, I can't audition with everybody else. It'd be embarrassing if I'm a graduate, you know. He's like, all right, come to callbacks then. So I did that, and then I got cast.
Wow, that is such a great story.
Yeah, so keeping in good friendship, and that got me this opportunity, and it's been a blast, actually. And it's been, I wonder what he would have done without me. I'm sure he would have been successful, but it was probably easier because he could work on the other actors. I was there. Maybe he thought I would do what I did. Because, you know, when you're in films, you got to do your work on your own.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Right? I mean, when you're in movies, Sparkle.
Well, we did a movie together.
I know.
So, it was Remembering Phil. Do you even remember doing that? That was so long. That was like 13,
Oh, my gosh. Did you go to the premiere for Remembering Phil?
No.
I did, actually.
You did?
I went to the premiere of Remembering Phil.
How was it?
It was all right. It was all right. Yes.
That was something.
So Sparkle
that
and
was
I
back
started
in
the same. And you know what's funny? To make that premiere that Sparkle and I both ran, I was in Vegas.
Oh, you were living there at the time?
I was living in Vegas at the time. Not the time when I filmed it, but the time that when the premiere came out, I finally moved to Vegas. So when the premiere came out, I was living in Vegas, and I was a participant in the World Series of Blackjack, and I kept winning. And then I was like, well, if I keep winning, I can't go to this premiere, you know? And my manager at the time was like, well, keep winning. That's more important than the premiere. But I was like, no, I want to be at that premiere, you know? And then I finally lost.
On purpose, or? Don't tell me it was on purpose.
I hope it wasn't. I hope to God. I hope that it was. But I lost, and I finally was eliminated. But I went really far in the World Series of Blackjack, not poker. The World Series of Blackjack.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I was like, well, if I race right now, I'll make the premiere. So I literally, after I lost, got in my car from the World Series of Blackjack. Day 2, I made it through day 1. Day 2, then got in the car, drove and the premiere was in Pasadena.
What a great story! Wow.
Yeah, and I made it to. You didn't miss much though, but it is great that we did.
So what are you working on now? What kind of other films have you been doing?
So I did Days of Our Lives. I had a little recurring role in Days of Our Lives.
How fun! Who'd you get to work with?
With Belle, and do you remember Belle and Sean? They were.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, they were. I was like the high school kids.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I mean I was a little older, but I was playing high school.
Yeah.
You know how that goes. My last episode of Days of Our Lives, they had this like war in Afghanistan and war in Iraq going on, and all the kids went there. I call them the kids, but the college age kids.
Okay.
In my last episode, we went to save one of the guys, and I said, "Hey, I'll be back," and I went a different way. And I always thought I'd be written back. I thought I'd go on.
So you died?
No, I'm just kind of.
Ish.
We don't know what happened.
You disappeared.
I just disappeared. I went this other way, so they could bring me back. But the casting director's changed now from the show. The long-time casting director.
Oh my goodness, that sucks.
Yeah.
And that's got to be really hard for a show like that to change.
Yeah, she was there forever. So now there's a new one who wasn't familiar with me. So I don't know. Maybe my Days of Our Lives. I got a funny story for you when I was on Days of Our Lives.
Okay, you gotta tell me.
Okay, when I was on Days of Our Lives, my manager said, "Hey, listen, they got these chat rooms for soap operas, and they're like, that's really a big deal. You got to go on the chat rooms and you got to like hype yourself up." So I said, okay. So I got this girl that I knew to go in with me, and I pretend that I'm a girl in the chat room. They don't know because they can't see. And I'm like, oh, my character's name is Jake. I'm like, oh, I love Jake. Jake's the greatest. Jake's handsome. I'm in love with Jake. Jake was me, okay? So I'm trying to hype myself up by pretending I'm a fan, right?
That's so funny. And
this other girl starts writing, who I don't know, like, oh my gosh, I love Jake too. And I'm like, oh wow, there's a real person. And then this other person writes in, and they're like, I hate Jake. Oh my gosh, because I was fighting with Rex, who was played by, oh gosh, I forget the guy's name now, but he was in a lot of films. It'll come to me in a minute. But Rex was like a big character at the time, and my character was opposite Rex.
Okay, so you were there.
And she's like, oh my gosh, Jake is horrible. I like Rex way better. And I was like, who is this Beezy trying to talk shit on Jake, So all of a sudden, I'm hyping up this little fan crew for Jake. There's this other girl saying, no, Jake's the worst. And we're all going at it. And anyways, I get a phone call, so I kind of stop. And this person I didn't know and this other girl who hated me, they're fighting each other about if Jake's great or Jake's not great. And I'm kind of watching this. And the girl who hates Jake says, you know what? You like Jake way too much. You must be Jake, she tells this girl. And this girl says, no way. The real Jake's not a loser to be in one of these stupid chat rooms.
That is so funny. Did you ever admit you were Jake?
No, but I didn't. But I was watching this, so I was like, oh shit. Because they were like, and then the other girl who hated me said, yeah, you're right. The real Jake's got way more to do than being here. But
you were there. Oh my goodness.
But there I was. The real Jake wasn't there.
How funny. I've never even heard of that. So there's like these soap opera chat rooms.
Yeah, there was soap opera chat rooms. I was in there trying to, prop myself up. And then in doing so, I had some fans and I had some detractors, but that was okay.
How exciting.
Not everybody's going to,
I love that story. What a funny story.
Yeah, thank you.
So where do people need to follow you to see what are you good at posting where you're going to be and what you're doing?
You know what I am? So I'm Stephen Cloud9 on Instagram.
Okay.
We're friends on Instagram.
Okay.
So Stephen Cloud9 on Instagram and Stephen Cloud, Stephen's with the PH. So, and I'm Stephen Cloud on Facebook. And I'm posting. And
so everyone needs to follow this man.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. And Tuesday through Saturday at Fresno State, 7:30 it starts, and it's theater, so you got to kind of be there a little early. Don't be there later than 7:15. And you're gonna love it. I'm telling you. Most of the people say, "Oh my gosh, I want to come back. I got to come back to this." And people brought their whole families. They're loving it.
I love it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great time. And I hope that you say you're gonna.
I promise. I will. I got to be there.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on my show.
Sparkle, what a pleasure. What an honor. Thank you for having me.
Oh, no, don't worry. I gave you a shot of fentanyl to relax you.
Oh, Annie. I'm a writer, Annie. That's all I am. And I've never written this well. I mean, even you said this is my best work. Well, didn't you? Look, why would I leave a place where I'm doing my best work? It doesn't make any sense.
Now don't fuss.
No, Annie. Look, I'll never leave my room again, okay? I'll stay here forever, Annie. I promise. Look, I'll be good. I swear, I'll be good, Annie. But please.
Darling.
Please.
Darling,
I'll be good, Annie.
Relax. It's for the best.
No, Annie, for the love of God, please.
Darling, trust me. I'm a trained nurse.
No, Annie, Annie, please, Annie, you gotta trust me. I will be good. I'll do anything that you say. Annie, no, please! Ah! 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 Annie, oh my God! Ah! Ah!
Thanks for coming on my show today.
Thank you.
Okay, so explain your run for Clovis City Council.
So, happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me. But I'm running. I'm one of 10 candidates running for office. There's 3 seats open. And out of the 10, I'm probably the only, it's a fact, I'm the only Democrat running.
Really?
I think we have 2 who are non-party affiliated.
Okay, that's what it was.
And so then the other 8 are all Republicans. So just giving it a different voice, a different look, and we're real excited to be in the race.
Okay, so I saw like a lot of people that are endorsing. They're all from Madera.
That's correct.
So why? To explain that, why are they all from Madera and you're
So
here?
I'm currently a department head in Madera.
Okay.
So actually, I'm the director for Parks and Community Services.
How fun.
And
okay.
so, of course, the people who've worked closely with me, the mayor pro tem, the police chief, they've all endorsed my candidacy because they know me. Which is interesting enough. I can't get any endorsements in Clovis. I can't even get the mayor to return my call. So it's just interesting. And I'm a citizen, so I do. Yeah.
So that's why you're running in Clovis, because you live in Clovis.
I live
even
in
though
Clovis.
You work in Madera.
Yes, that's correct.
And you can't run from Madera because you live in Clovis.
I don't live in Madera. I live
Man,
in Clovis.
that's
so Clovis. I've been in a Clovis residence for 13 years, and so.
Where were you originally?
I grew up in the Monterey Peninsula, but I'm a military brat, so I actually I've lived in North Carolina, Germany, but for most of my formative years, I lived in Seaside, California, on the coast.
So you didn't serve; you were just.
No, my father served
served.
long enough for me and everybody, and a few other people. So he was a career military man.
And so that's really good to you for like the community of Madera with all that you serve on.
Mm-hmm.
How long have you been doing that?
I've been in this role since January, and then prior to that, I was actually in grants for the city of Madera as well. So a lot of experience writing grants. This year, I've written over $3 million worth of grants for the city for 2 parks. We've got about $1.5 million pending right now for the city, and I'm looking to bring that same expertise to Clovis.
That's what I was going to ask you. It's like, so you have some experience in what kind of money you're going to bring in.
I think out of all the candidates, I'm probably the only one working for a city. We do have a retired police chief who he has some experience working for city government. So I think my insight into the actual running of a city is very germane to this to the position I'm seeking.
And what's going on with Clovis? What do you seek to improve?
So I think we have the same problems everybody else have. We see a rise in property crimes. We see housing prices rising. We have homeless issues. So those things that I think we can address. But I can tell you one of the things that's really interesting, people ask me why you're running. And so I says, look, I do understand city government, and city government is not about ideology. City government is actually pretty mundane. It's about broken sewer heads, it's about potholes, gophers in the parks. I get a number of calls from citizens pretty much every day. A lot of them call me, they just want to talk. A lot of them bring me cookies. But it's not. It's not everybody, and people think it's what you see on MSNBC or Fox, and let me tell you, I'm writing staff reports. I've got a council meeting tomorrow night. I've got to do a presentation just about the number of projects that my team is actually working on. So it's probably as close to running a business as you can possibly get. And so I see a lot of people get caught up in, oh, I'm running for council, this is it, and it's not that at all. I mean, there's some of that, but I think
it's a lot of the unfun stuff that you want to do.
And I was talking to some young people the other day, and I was like, I got to tell you, I enjoy it because I have a business background, and I think those skills that I've learned, in the Fortune 100 space are transferable to what I do. I have a team. I have, well over 65 employees, and soon to be well over 100 as we staff up. And it's basically, I'm having meetings, staff meetings, I'm meeting with the public. I had some retired teachers come talk to me about setting up some community activities. Those are the things that we do. I'm setting up a youth commission in Madera, and those are things that we could do in Clovis as well. One of the things I think on my platform is shared best practices between municipalities. Like I mentioned earlier, a lot of our issues are the same that are in Fresno, they're the same that in Madera. I spend a lot of time in Visalia. I'm on a board for a nonprofit there. And let me tell you, it's the same issues. I mean, it's the same thing, homelessness, people worried about their rents going up, they're worried about being able to have affordable housing. I worry, specifically about whether my children can come back here and have grandkids for my wife. So what we found is I moved here from Fort Collins, Colorado, and when we moved here, what we found is a lot of people leave here and they come back. And so I talk to people, say, yeah, I lived in the Bay Area, I went to school, or I lived in LA and I came back.
I was one of those people.
Yeah, so I see a lot of people say that, they say, I came here. But then when they want, they mature and they want to start a family, they come back to this valley. It doesn't necessarily have to be Clovis, but it's the valley as a whole.
Exactly.
And so we want that, for our kids as well. We want them to come, we say, hey, we like this place. And so really, I worry about whether they can afford a home when they get here. What I've seen in the last 2 years, home prices have skyrocketed. The median home price right now is, I think I read the other day, is about $405,000. Just 2.5 years ago was probably the median price was somewhere around $200,000. So we've seen that. I've seen.
What can we do about it, though? What do you think you can do in that?
Well,
scene?
One of the things I just saw this morning on my way to work. There's a lot of people who are trying to come up with creative ideas for first-time home buyers. You see a lot of this. I think that Fresno's really pushing that. They haven't really implemented anything. One of the things that I'm real keen on is looking for private investors like yourself to invest in and maybe down payment assistance, or just like you and me. So we can, one of the things you can do is you can actually buy real property with your IRA. That's something. I'm just saying we need to think outside the box in order to help our community grow, or else we're going to see what's happening now. We see a lot of people who are coming into the valley. They're paying cash for homes and they're driving up the home prices.
Because they're coming from San Jose.
And there's like, hey, San Jose, and there's like, hey, this is a good deal.
Right.
So, for me, that's great, if you have a home already, but for young people starting out, I don't know how they do that. And what we're seeing is, I lived in the Bay Area for like 20 years, and what you saw was people would buy homes, which was, they said, well, it's whatever I'm willing to commute is where I can afford. And so what you're seeing is people leaving Fresno, Clovis, they're matriculating out to Madera, even as far as Merced, because the home prices are lower. I'd like to keep those people here. We've got kind of a brain drain from this valley. So I'm willing to, I tell my staff all the time, I'll try anything until it doesn't work, but we just can't stay stuck in neutral. We recognize it's an issue and let's address it.
Okay, I ask you kind of a personal question. Why do you live in Clovis and you didn't move to Madera when you work there? Because we're talking about community issues.
Well, same reason I didn't live in Fresno when I worked in Fresno.
You wanted to escape where you were.
I live in Clovis. That's where I bought my home. I didn't really choose Clovis. Clovis chose me. That was the best deal on my
So you were
home.
like, okay.
Yeah, I lived in Fresno for a couple years, and I was renting, and I was looking for a home, and looked all over. Best deal I got was Clovis, and so that's
At that time. So now you see how it's reversed.
Yeah. So now I'm working in, I worked in Hollister for a number of years at a defense contractor. Couldn't afford to live over there, so
Right.
it was just insane. And I actually, from the Bay Area, Hollister used to be affordable. And Hollister, Morgan Hill, that's all, you're looking at crazy home prices. And so that it's just, that it's a house of cards, it can't sustain itself. And so we have to find ways to neutralize that.
It must have been daunting being the only Democrat running. Clovis is a really conservative town. What do you have to say to people that doubt that? And they're like, why are you what do you have to say to your naysayers?
Oh, I got a lot of naysayers, but also, the thing is, it's a nonpartisan race. And so I brought that up just to bring that up. But the fact of the matter is, again, in city government, when I get calls from people and tell me their sewer lines are broke or their trees down, they don't ask me, says, are you a Democrat?
Yeah,
you have
exactly,
R
right?
No, they don't. They don't ask me any of that. They don't want to know what your ideology is. They say, just get the thing fixed.
They don't care
They don't care. And so that was what attracted me to this race was, hey, this is nonpartisan. I understand how government works. And so that's why I'm in it.
But you guys are going to have a big say in where the money goes to and bring businesses here and like that,
but
right?
But you do understand there's 5 of us, though.
I understand that.
Council,
but that's what I'm saying. You guys have a big input on that. Where would you like to see the money spent that's coming into Clovis? Where would you like to see grow?
I would like to see probably maybe more infill as far as development, but this is all up to the developers. I mean, I see a lot of sprawl. I have 2 daughters who live in Southern California, And if you drive through Clovis on the south side of town, it kind of looks like you see it strip malls, houses, strip malls, houses.
Right.
And I don't know, that doesn't really appeal to me. But again, one of five, I would advocate for, hey, let's do more infrastructure. One of the biggest problems, and I've been studying this since I've been in the race, is do we have enough revenue coming in from tax dollars in order to support our infrastructure? Do we have enough for it? I don't think we do. I think we're going to have some tough conversations. I don't think rooftops with homes bring in enough revenue. I think we're seeing more commercial development, but we probably need a little more. A lot of it's retail. I don't know that we have jobs that will really, support the kind of growth that we're seeing. We're seeing a lot of people who are actually commuting out, like myself. Wouldn't it be nice to have a manufacturer here in Clovis? I used to work for Pelco for 10.5 years here in the Valley, which was a big manufacturer.
Right.
And when that went south, that went away, there was a lot of revenue that went away with it. And so I would love to see us attract somebody. I mean, why not? I think we have in one part where we really emphasize R&D. Why not try to attract an Apple or a Google to at least put an R&D center here and tout, the fact that this is a great place to live. I'm just thinking outside the box, but those are things that I'm thinking of. How can we generate enough revenue to support the support services that we need for our city?
What do you feel about like our farm life here? Because there's so much going on right now with our water, not having enough of it. You see a lot of farmers not being able to sustain, and that's going by the wayside. How do you feel about that?
The water's a big issue. I mean, there's no doubt about it. It's been, since I've been here, they've been talking about water issues. I would love to see us have more legislation that would support our farmers. I mean, we're the bread basket of the world.
Right.
And I've seen actually since I moved here in 2006, and I remember that was kind of, when I got here, that was one of the things that I really focused on. They said, well, our water and we're losing
this has been
jobs.
Going on for over 20 years.
Yeah. And I've seen it go, and actually we've seen jobs go away, and I've seen a lot of talk about, hey, a lot of our water is being diverted into the ocean. I'm not really conversant on all the water issues, but it's a problem. And so I would love to see us actually have a little more cooperation from Sacramento. I would like to see, this is a place where actually in the last few years, we've seen more politicians visit the Valley. But I don't know what they're doing, So, I mean, from a council seat, I don't know how much pull you're going to have, but at least you can be an advocate.
Right. And then what do you think about our farmers that are, because that's another problem with land developers wanting to create more housing, more places, and that's going to be on the farmlands. How do you feel about that?
Again, I'm all about, I love to say, hey, we're the breadbasket of the world. When people talk to me and they say, and I travel a lot, and when people talk to me, they say, where are you from? I say, I'm from the Central Valley. And nobody's ever heard of Clovis. When I say Clovis,
Fresno,
I go Fresno. I go, Fresno,
yeah,
but they never say that. But when I do travel and I tell them, they go, oh, I says, we're known for our raisins, our almonds, we have a lot of dairies. And I like to be able to say that. And I think, that pride in the Valley, that's something that's, it's contagious. I said, when I moved here, I didn't really want to come here. I commuted for like 2 years. I said, no, I'm living in Colorado. I don't really, then I got promoted. And they said, you have to be here. And this has grown on us, and we're not going anywhere else. So we're, this is our community, and it's our hope, and, we will continue to, make it a better place for everybody and ourselves.
So when push comes to shove and the land developers want to take over the farmlands, you'll address that
I'm not for that, and I know, a lot of these farmlands are family owned, and so we see the next generation, they're looking to cash out. So I see that quite a bit. But really, I'm an advocate for, we have enough space to build up, not so much building out.
And I know you mentioned the crime, that there's this and that, and that it's grown. But to me, I mean, having lived in LA, Fresno, everywhere, I feel very safe in Clovis. I live in Clovis, and so I feel like we don't have, when things get hit, it makes the news because we don't get hit often. So what should we do to hit the crime?
I can tell you, it is good. I actually met with all the departments heads in the city. I met with the police chief. One of the things, they're understaffed, but they're still responding to all calls. Unlike, I think in Madera, we only respond to priority 1.
Oh, man.
So we're just it's a nationwide issue as far as staffing. It's not a Clovis issue.
Right.
But one of the things we've seen a rise in property crimes, porch pirates, mailbox thefts, catalytic converters. And you didn't hear that so much when I first got to Clovis, but you do now.
This crime has risen, yeah.
It's gone up, but we do a good job.
We're keeping it at bay now, but you're afraid that because it's rising, it could get worse.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So
how do we do that?
Again, we need to, I would advocate, let's get more revenue to get more officers on the force, but also let's look at this holistically. Let's look at this from what are the causes for some of the problems. And I think they're all interrelated. I think housing prices, homelessness. So you're seeing, a rise in crime. So if we can address some of those things, so the causes, so we don't have to react, and maybe that'll have a cause and effect where that goes down. But again, I think we really have to have some serious talks. So do we have enough revenue coming in to support the growth that we have?
What do you feel about the diversity in Clovis? I mean, we're both ethnic people. We're really afraid about that. And it's
it's funny you mentioned that. So I was on this, I've been on, I think, 3 candidate forums, and I've listened to all my opponents talk about the Clovis way of life. And they all talk about it. And in listening to them, I'm like, wow, is there a meeting somewhere in the town square where they all grab hands and sing Kumbaya? Because I'm not seeing it, and so I've never had any problems here, but I think I'm the only one out of all 10 candidates to say, well, wait a minute, I'm not from here, but let me tell you, people who, when they do find out that I live in Clovis, they ask me, say, why would you want to live there? They're not welcoming. And I hear that a lot. And people, so
and we did have a hate crime last year.
Yeah,
in African American church.
Yeah, and I says, but I haven't had any problems. We like it, but the fact of the matter is there is this perception. And I think one of the other candidates said perception is reality. And so I was like, well, where's everybody? So this is all neighborly. And, I hear people, actually I heard one of my opponents say, I see diversity all over Clovis. And I'm looking, I said, I don't, So
I work at one of the bars on the main hub of Clovis, and I don't see it.
No, I don't see it.
It's not like we're not welcoming, it's just not happening.
Yeah, so I don't see it, but it's got to start somewhere. And so again, I'm like, well, where's all this welcoming, and and I don't, I don't have any. All my kids are grown, so only one has graduated from high school here, and I think a lot of that has to do with your kids playing sports, so a lot of your friendships come out of that, but in this campaign, I got to tell you, we've met some really nice people, and it's been refreshing. I was like, where are all you people? We've been here 13 years, but so I do see that. But again, it's not as diverse as some would think. I think some people are in their bubble, and so in their bubble, they say, hey, we're great, everybody's wonderful, but they don't branch out of that bubble. And so really what we need to have intersections of, like I said, I can't even get the mayor to return my call. And, I'm like, I've called this guy at least 2 or 3 times, to introduce myself. I'm a citizen. Not, and really,
I should try. I haven't never try to get a hold of this man. I had Drew Bessinger many times. I don't know. Yeah,
not him.
Not him.
Yeah,
but
the others, it's like, hey, I just want to introduce myself, so I'm not seeing this. Oh, hey, kumbaya, Clovis. But I think, that's all changing, and we're growing. I think it's getting more diverse from the 13 years I've been here. I see more people of color. I see, in town. But again, it's, that's something that we all have to work on. It's not, like we have to get outside of our comfort zones. We have a tendency to gravitate to people who look like us and who think like us. Well, people, not everybody looks like us, and not everybody is we just have to strive to be different.
And how do we get more diverse businesses in Clovis? What's something that we could do?
Well, I'll tell you, I go down downtown Clovis, and it's cute.
That's where
it's
I work,
quaint.
yeah.
I know where you work. Yeah, and it's quaint. There's a lot of antique shops, and those are nice. I think some of the restaurants are nice, but we're still kind of exploring. We have 2 places that we go to, that we really like, La Quebrada, and we go to Yosemite Falls Cafe. Those are like our regulars.
Right.
Some of the others we don't go to as much, but I think I would love to see, maybe, you know, some type of Mediterranean restaurant, or maybe, and I know they exist in different parts, but let's attract those, and, you know, let's try some different things. You know, it's all good.
So what would you say to everyone watching now, like when you get on the City Council, whatever, what would you like to see the most of, like, the people that live in Clovis? What would you like to see the support of us? What can we do to help you?
I would like to see more participation in the political process. I mean, there's 73,000, you know, I looked this up before I ran. There's 73,000 registered voters in Clovis. In the last primary election, only 23,000 voted.
Wow.
That's sad. And so I think what it is some people are complacent, some people are turned off. People I've talked to said, hey, I'm just tired of seeing the same old, I don't, you know, it's
right.
good,
Yeah.
you know. And what I like to see is more young people get involved. When I go talk to younger people, they get excited, and I say, well, don't get excited, come and participate.
Right.
You know, and it's the same thing in Madera. I mean, I've got young people on my staff who don't vote, and I just, you got to be kidding me. And so I want to at least build some enthusiasm. You know, we've seen people who are on the council been there 20 some odd years, and sometimes a fresh face, a fresh voice, that leads a lot to building up that enthusiasm.
And that happens in any job. You get in there all excited to change things, and then after a while, that's just human nature.
And I'm
so
not looking to shake
that.
things up, but I would love to see more citizens commissions. You know, Clovis is pretty well run. I don't have any real qualms about it, but I think, you know, sometimes just a different perspective. Just, you know, I'm going to have a different lens just because of who I am. My background's going to be much different than the other 4 people who are on the council. Much different. And so, you know, I think that's good. That's a good thing. That's not a bad thing necessarily. So.
Well, thank you so much for coming on my show. I love learning about you and all that you got going on.
Thank you.
So
Thank you
I
for
wish you
having me.
luck in this race.
Yeah, thank you. You know, so like I said, we're not going anywhere. So it's, you know, whether win or lose, we're still going to be around. So it's all good.
Ramses, TA the Handfull, Pharaoh and the King. Yo, I've been the truth, you niggas is nincompoops. I never gave a fuck about being in the loop, I got shit to do. I remember days sleeping in my living room. Laid back, but if you try me, I'ma give it to you. I'm from G's, bitch, love it or hate it. I'm killing rappers, fuck the ramifications. I refuse to be complacent, spark plug amazing. Nigga, I was born for this shit. Matt Damon, head on the swivel, case a nigga feel courageous. My 2 twin Glocks never split, integration. I was in my bag back when Tigger was in the basement. I don't wish death on a nigga or a cage shit. Still I gotta keep my circle small, you niggas makeshift. Real town niggas, shout out Red, shout out Asia. Graduated from the bullshit, you in placement. The lyrical assassin, that's an understatement. Hip hop, Pharaoh and the King got this shit locked. On the road to riches, ain't no pit stop. Tick tock, this is hip hop. Pharaoh and the King got this shit locked. On the road to riches, ain't no pit stop. Tick tock, this is hip hop. We in the box, be afraid of what you find in the foam. While you're shining your shoes, I'm just here shining my throne. I spit rhymes on the phone. Dressing black, commit crimes on the low. Rates will rise like the tides when they show. Lit a fire, I stood back, admired the glow. If I was flyer, how fly? They would sire the blow. What's the point if you don't aspire to acquire a vote? I don't expire, you can't retire the goat. We're the righteous when Moses done divided the moat. Hit the floor like roses tucked inside of a note. Not for sale, but you chose to keep buying up hope. A medallion for those who go and abide by the code. Moment we enter, we sweep in the room. People in tune, different cloth like I leap from the loom. In a race to get that cheese from the moon. Breathe in the fumes. Let me welcome you heathens to a new season of doom. Hip hop. Pharaoh and the King got this shit locked. On the road to riches, ain't no pit stop. Tick tock, this is hip hop. Pharaoh and the King got this shit locked. On the road to riches, ain't no pit stop. Tick tock, this is hip hop.
Thanks for coming on my show, you guys. I've wanted you here for months.
Pleasure to be here.
Right, long time.
And now I love you guys together. How long have you guys been collabing?
Couple months, actually.
It's about 4 months.
That's it?
Yeah.
And it's just that good? So who wrote the beats and all that?
So we've got a producer that produced the whole album.
Shout out to Treble.
Yeah, local guy, goes by the name of Treble. We let him do the whole album. So it was his first venture.
Album.
You know, his first venture that he's done with like.
The album was done during tour. Actually, we actually knocked the album out during tour. It was crazy.
Wow.
To have time to do that.
In like a 2-week span.
How long you guys all been doing this?
He's been rapping a lot
I've been
longer
rapping
than me.
since I was like 15.
Yeah.
Well, I'm 31 now, so about.
Yeah, I didn't start till 2017, into 2017.
And then you built a studio like right away, though.
Yeah, that's how it started out. It was actually with the
Ground running.
studio.
So you built the studio first?
Yeah, so.
That's really
yeah.
reverse of what most people do.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny how that worked out. I was hanging out with the guys and I said, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna build a studio. And they were looking at me crazy, like, for what? I said, I'm gonna rap. And then they laughed and they're like, for real? I said, yeah.
Serious.
And so I built the studio first because I didn't want to have to, I didn't have money to pay for studio time.
I'll just build my own?
Yeah, I'll just build my own.
Which costs a lot as it.
Yeah, but it was over time, you know what I mean? So, you
Gradually.
develop a lot of that stuff over time along with the skills over the time, So.
I mean, that's really the way to do it because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, people are probably paying more at studio time than if they just built it.
Yeah.
And you have it
I've
always
been in
there.
a lot of. I've been in a lot of labs, and he has like the most like put together. You can tell he really put a lot into it.
It's got a vibe,
So
like
it's a good vibe.
It's not just a studio, we call it the vault.
It's the vault.
But it's got a vibe. Yeah.
It's nice.
So you just went off a tour, but were you on the same tour or you were on a different one?
Yeah, we're
Same tour.
Yeah,
Same tour.
yeah,
So how did that go?
it was nice. That was my first tour. It was a Fresh Art tour. Shout out
Mine
to
as
Fresh
well.
Art. And
Who'd you tour with?
we went with Mitchie Slick, Fast Sean, Planet Asia, and Fly Styles and
Yeah.
Fresh Art.
And you all
Fresh
got
Art tour.
along?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not like those stories where everyone starts getting like.
No.
Nah, it was
I
fun.
matched the van. They had a bunch of rappers in the van. Some dope freestyle sessions and stuff like that.
It was dope. You just living.
It was a
You
cool
just
tour.
when you're rapping, you're just living. It's just, I mean, to me, when you're doing something you love doing, it's just life. It's just part of life. You know what I mean? So
It's something
it was
new
just
everywhere
fun.
you go. So you get to see everything on tour.
Yeah, it was fun.
You get
just
some,
to travel.
some of the podunk towns, that you probably shouldn't stop in.
Not the podunk.
Oh my goodness.
So it's cool. It was an eye opener as far as the business side. You see things differently.
So where did you guys tour at?
So California.
Started in where? Santa Ana.
Started in Santa Ana.
Santa Ana, went to Oakland. I know the whole little shit. I was like
Well,
excited.
we started in California. Did a couple places
Went
in
to
California.
Oregon. Went to Eugene, Oregon. Mesa, Arizona. Was it Mesa?
Yeah, Arizona, Vegas.
Humboldt. Went to Humboldt.
Yeah, so we
it
were
was nice.
all over the West Coast.
Came back to Fresno, to San Diego.
And everybody was receptive.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And people knew
Yeah.
who you were in these like little podunk towns.
Yeah, I mean,
Had a couple fans, but
yeah, a couple fans, but not everybody knows who you are, unless you're, a major headliner. But
Yeah.
but you get to a lot of these areas, and a lot of people are really, they're pretty cool,
Well, sometimes they're more receptive to music because that's all they have.
Yeah.
See,
I think
like-
that's where you develop a lot more hardcore fans,
Right.
that are
Exactly.
that are
That's
supporting fans,
That's where you gain the momentum at. That was my first tour, so I don't have a big following outside the valley. You know what I mean? Much, but
Yeah.
now that we toured and went to different states, it's like now.
Well,
people
even
know.
if you're known as a guy that toured with like this guy, that's still something. And it's
Yeah,
like,
oh, yeah, it was fun.
eventually, yeah, that's really cool.
good.
So Fash is your cousin? Can we
That's
say
my
that on the show?
cousin. Yeah. Santiago.
Did you know him
Peace,
like
King.
forever growing up, or did you guys get introduced later?
I actually I got introduced to him later. I met him at a family reunion. Like
How fun! And then you rap. And
that's
you
when
guys,
I started
rap,
rapping. No, that's when I started rapping actually. Him and my brother in Section 8, they had a group called Section 8. That's when I started rapping. They inspired me to rap.
That is so cool.
Definitely.
Wow. So what do you guys do? You guys have some day jobs too, right?
Yeah.
How does that go? How do they feel when you start touring and stuff? Are they cool with it? Because that's got to be a little bit hard.
Yeah, I took 30 days off.
How do they function with it? Are they happy? Are they okay?
They didn't have a choice.
They weren't happy, but they were like,
Yeah. I mean, they're everybody at work's supportive though. They kind of saw everything come to fruition. I mean, I've been there 13 years. I've been there longer than I've been rapping. So, and making music. So they kind of saw everything come together, and I think they were a little more flabbergasted at kind of how fast things unfolded.
Yeah, because that is if you say I want to be a rapper and then you're on tour a few years later. That's pretty.
That's what we were just talking about.
Yeah,
that,
yeah. It's funny.
Yeah. Significant jump. I've been doing it for like 16 years, and it's just you never know when. You just gotta count your blessings and just take it one day at a time. Like
Absolutely.
It's all blessings. Like it can just be going one minute. We're just
that's a
taking one
fact.
day at a time and just go get that album, by the way, The Pharaoh and the King. Streaming on all
Yeah, that
platforms.
album. We did just drop an album.
I love it. No,
Yeah.
I'm a fan now. No, totally. So just everyone needs to get it, download it.
Download that.
On all platforms.
What's happening now? So what's the next step?
I'm working on my solo album right now, King Timothy, produced by Fashion. Just getting that together. We got an album release party coming up on the 17th at Fulton 55.
Fulton 55.
Yeah.
So
Get your
is it
tickets
Saturday?
now. Get your
It'll be a
tickets now.
Thursday.
Thursday. Oh,
Thursday, yeah.
perfect. I can go.
Get your tickets now. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
Let's
We got a lot of dope artists.
Live performances. Yeah, we have a lot of. It's gonna be. It's gonna be a
we
good
can get
vibe.
CDs or whatever.
No, we don't have physical copies yet. We'll probably do those like probably mail outs or something like that.
Okay.
You know, and
Have some
have them
merch there,
direct.
though. We'll have some merch.
We'll have some merch there.
Be some merch there.
Some stuff like that, and then we'll probably have some vinyls coming soon too.
Oh,
So
wow.
I got some vinyls in the works for it.
And then another tour is in the works.
Hopefully, yeah. If
Hopefully
everything goes
so.
planned, you know, you guys might see us on tour again. So we got some.
The plan is to go to the East Coast. I think we were.
I think that would be really
got some
good.
things working. You know, maybe hit New York and go that route. Some of those areas, Pennsylvania.
So what's
you
the
know,
hardest
Boston.
thing about that you guys learned through this whole process?
hardest.
Nothing happens overnight, you know, and that's
Being patient. That's
yeah,
the hardest-
it's
Gotta be
it's
patient, yeah.
sticking to the grind. It's doing you, you know. Don't
Don't
let a
rush,
lot of
can't rush.
outside sources, you know, sway how you make music. You know, I think we've learned to make music for ourselves, you know,
Right.
and hopefully people will gravitate towards it.
What are
you
some
know.
of the feedback you get that's like negative? Or people saying it's a different type of genre? You need to go with this more style?
No, you know, I think it's funny is you from some of the younger crowds, you know, you play the music and they're like, man, that sounds like some stuff like some old school stuff, like 90s hip hop.
Right,
You know,
right.
my parents listen to that.
They want to hear that bubble gum. They want to hear that new shit.
Yeah,
Well, that's
yeah.
why I like it so much.
They
You
wanna
know,
hear
I
that good shit.
grew up on that golden era of hip hop, you know, and
Right.
you know, every type
To
of
each his
hip hop
own,
has its
to each
place.
his own.
Exactly right. You know, you can't knock the new stuff. You know, you can't knock the old stuff because it all has its place. That's all the building blocks, you know, of how we got here today.
I make
you know,
my
of where
music
we are.
like when I write my music and make my music, I do it within for my life experience. So if I'm not reaching out to a certain crowd, it's just like, well, to each his own. Somebody
You have to write
Yeah.
about that would be stupid if you were about somebody else's
Right,
experience,
right,
not yours.
yeah,
You know?
exactly.
So yeah, you have to write your
Yeah,
own stuff.
so-
Yeah, and I think if you know, on some cases, you know, you have to get literal, you know, and not everybody's going to relate to that. But you know, if you keep a nice balance to where it's got stuff that everybody can relate to, you know, but it's still, you know, they're still going to be able to feel it.
What's the darkest song you guys are in?
She said the darkest. What's the darkest?
Not about some stuff you feel, so like some life experiences.
You know, we get
Probably Pharaoh.
No, I would say probably the one with
Hold
K-Press.
Darkest. Hold
The
tight.
Last Stand is a good one.
Oh, the last stand.
The Last Stand is about it's about the last stand. It's about like the final frontier against, you know, oppressors and stuff like that, and persevering against you know, outside pressure, and it's kind of just it's me and TA, and we put a guy out of the East Coast named K-Press
K-Press, shout out to K-Press.
out of New York area, and so he's on it, and it's kind of like a look at real life, and how like things can happen so quickly. You know,
That's a dope one. That's one of my favorite
Yeah.
songs off the album.
yeah, probably mine too.
Oh, that's so cool. And then collaborative. If you could collab with anybody, anywhere, who would you collab with?
If I could.
For me,
Anybody.
I'd probably reach out to like Aesop Rock. you know?
A$AP?
Yeah, Aesop Rock.
A$AP's dope.
Is probably one of my, you know, if you've got like an iconic artist that you'd want to work with, that's probably somebody I'd probably choose.
I have to go with
But I mean, you know,
Kendrick Lamar. Probably
that'd be a dope
Kendrick.
one too.
I'd probably like to do a song with Kendrick. Kendrick, if you're watching this, man, let's collab, man.
Oh God, if Kendrick was watching this, I mean,
Right?
You never know.
Yeah, have your people call our people.
Yeah, right? I'm not hard to find.
But yeah, and at the end of the day, you know, it's not even about the collab, you know, for me. For me, it's more about the music itself, you know. Again, we don't just collaborate with anybody, you know. We don't do
but you never know because you became friends with Fash through this, right?
yeah.
And that was, I mean, if you're just, If you're some white boy that builds a studio or whatever, and you guys are like best friends.
You know,
yeah, but it's like how you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You never know what connections you make.
Yeah, no,
with
we're
the art.
always willing to do collabs, but at the end of the day, it's all going to come down to a song. You know, I've had artists reach out to me that I think are dope artists, but our styles don't mesh.
Because
so
that would be weird
at the end of the day, you know, you're looking at a finished product, so it's not really about the collab. You know, that's not really what you're looking
Who drives
for.
together is different. Than you can respect each other, not
exactly.
Jive. Yeah.
You know, it's funny you say, you know, that's how I met Fash. As a matter of fact, the first major song I did that I released solo was a song I did with Fash. I met him at another studio through another engineer, and from there we just kind of linked up, and that was the first major track that I dropped. And so we kind of just been inseparable since.
The rest is history.
Yeah,
you know,
so that's how we got here today.
Dropping shit like everything, you know what I mean? Going crazy.
I love that. Well, tell everyone your Instagram, because can anyone reach out to you if they have any?
Original Grizzly, my name is T8 and Handfull. Original Grizzly is my IG.
Ramses, and you can find me at Ramses Real Hip Hop, or Ramses Real Rap, either one. But Ramses Real Hip Hop.
Handfull.com. You can check out all my music, booking shows, features. You know what I mean? Holla at your boy.
Yep.
Oh, so if I had like a birthday party, you guys will come and rap for me?
For sure.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to do that.
Yeah. We ain't dressing up though.
You only get one a year. You know, why not?
Yeah, no, like, we're always open to doing events and stuff like that. You know, that's kind of what we do it for.
And this Saturday we're going to be at Salsa's.
Yeah, Salsa's Cantina.
Yeah.
You're gonna catch me and this girl here co-hosting a show.
And getting into trouble, maybe.
Will there be salsa there? No,
of course. Gotta have the salsa.
Yeah, it's
I'm there. Well, I'm there. No,
yeah, so we'll see you guys there. What time do doors open?
We're gonna do like 9:30, 1:30. So just come when you're done with your Saturday. You come after the game, after the Fresno State game. Just come on over. And Old Town Salsas.
Yeah, should be popping. Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for coming on my show.
We appreciate you having
Thanks
us.
for having us.
And we appreciate you letting us perform too.
That was dope.
Yeah.
Grizzly City, boy. Yeah. Yeah. Y'all know what time it is. Ramses, TA. No facade, I'm the GOAT, bitch. Y'all in for the shit now. Hip hop veterans. Name a rapper better than Wish Wash never been. Patches like a Letterman. Shit talk reverence. Die behind my brethren. This cost everything. Etc. Etc. Getting money like bad hygiene. That's a must. Feeling like $1 million in this Periolis tug. Past the Dutch, now this one in the neck. I'm vocally blessed. Shots through your back, out your chest. We the best like Khaled and them. Sipping Dawn, fill it up to the rim of my cup. That Perrier, nigga, carry on. Guns get true like Barrymore when we slide through. Back to back like a Mickey D's drive-through. And I ain't pulling your chain, that bitch fake. They be lying when they say they don't fuck on the first date. Real east side nigga grind hard like bad breaks. Money longer than the Zimmerman case. Bail money in the safe, real Grizzly gang salve. Niggas looking shocked like if Luca left the Mavs. Shout out to the youngins who was raised without a dad. Shout out to the niggas flashing money on the gram. Damn, hip hop veterans. Name a rapper better than Wish Wash never been. Patches like a Letterman. Shit talk reverence. Die behind my brethren. This cost everything. Etc. Etc. Hip hop veterans. Name a rapper better than Wish Wash never been. Patches like a Letterman. Shit talk reverence. Die behind my brethren. This cost everything. Etc. Etc.
Fucking loan songs in the bag. I carry the notes. Cement shoes just for you to wear on the boat. You think that we're getting tired of burying folks? Stop your heart with a glare like we're staring at goats. Bring the terror that hides in the folds of the fog. We cold roll through, leave with holes in the dodge. Ain't the same. You're calling the cops, I'm calling the mob. Shit, I'm holding pounds. You're trying to hold down a job. See, chasing paper is just par for the course. Rap Jedi with a saber and I've harbored the force. Rhymes bend and flex with every bar I contort. Got a story to tell for every scar that I sport. I mean, they're nervous, some folks. We never heard of your blokes. Catch a bending curve, swerve until we curb in the spokes. You better scurry when you see the black Suburban approach. Liquid courage get you turned to a ghost.
Hip hop veterans. Name a rapper better than Wish Wash never been. Patches like a Letterman. Shit talk reverence. Die behind my brethren. This cost everything. Etc. Etc. Hip hop veterans. Name a rapper better than Wish Wash never been. Patches like a Letterman. Shit talk reverence. Die behind my brethren. This cost everything. Etc. Etc.
wanted to own it. Just wanted to take the time, learn all the things that I could about you. Now it's such a mess here. Oh, we are just stressed here. Used to be so easy with you. Now I must confess here. Oh, I must confess, dear. Don't think I'm in love with you. Winter is coming and I don't know what to do. And there's no more use in running, no more running to you. And I don't want your loving, I don't wanna be just friends, knowing all this time we were playing pretend, playing pretend, playing pretend, ooh, playing pretend.
It's a mystery.